Yeah, no, I moved it out, but
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Stevens meeting of the Town Council Grants Committee. Just housekeeping first. I would like to advise everyone present that should the fire alarm sound, you should leave the building immediately by one of the fire exits, which is clearly signposted. The fire assembly point is in the car park. You shouldn't return to the building for any reason unless you've been advised it's safe to do so. Can I please remind everyone to please put your mobile phones on silent mode and put a phone away for the duration of the meeting, avoiding interference with your iPads or microphones. The meeting will be recorded and live streamed on YouTube, and therefore when speaking, please remember to speak clearly into the microphone. As the chair of the meeting, I have the discretion to terminate or suspend recording and live streaming if, in my opinion, continuing to do so would prejudice the proceeding of the meeting. Recording and live streaming of confidential items will also not take place. To alert me as the chair of the meeting that you would like to speak, please raise your hand and wait for a microphone to come before speaking. Please remember, if you leave the meeting for any reason, you are able to take part in the vote on an item that will be discussed at that time. Members of the public will be able to view the live stream of the meeting via YouTube. Please can I request that when speaking, you make your points as succinct as possible to allow for the smooth running of the meeting. Can I also take the opportunity to remind you to be polite and treat each other with respect at all times? Thank you. The agenda items. Do we have any other public members of the public here to answer questions separate from the grants that are being discussed tonight? So apologies from councillors. We have Councillor Richard Lees and Simon Clark can't be here this evening. Otherwise, I think this is counted for. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes of our last meeting? No. Is everyone happy that they are a correct record of events? Would anyone like to propose those minutes? Councillor Ellis and seconded by Councillor Tully. All in favour of adopting the minutes? Thank you very much. That's unanimous. There's some feedback from the previous applicants. Has everyone had a chance to look at these? I don't think that's on the web space. They can go to the website, so they are publicly available for anyone else who wants to look at the grant feedback. So we've had feedback from In the Mix project, South Island Water Saving 2023, St Margaret's Hospice, the Taunton Theatre Association, the Taunton Carnival, and Sound of the Streets Festival. So if you haven't had a chance to look, please do go to the website. There's an update from Hughes, a fire and light event update. We regret that we need to postpone April 6th until the autumn, as we've had an email that our funding decision has been delayed, which impacts the event. Regarding the autumn date and making inquiries, we have September the 14th or October 15th. And our plan will still stand in that event, but we should expect. So on to the business of the current applicants. First up, we have Arts Taunton and Sophie Lawrence. You come to sit at the chair in the middle. Sorry, it's a long way around. Yes. As a general notice for everyone, only one microphone can be active at a time. So when you're speaking, if you press the right hand button, get the light up red, and then when you finish speaking, press it again to turn it off, and then you can turn it back on. Previously we had some presentations from applicants that shoot due to the volume of people applying. We've changed the format, so we'll just be asking you questions based on the applications you've already submitted, because they give us most of the details we need. So this will just be supplementary questions to help fill in gaps and make some decisions. So, Arts Taunton, do any of the other councillors have any questions that they have in advance? So, Alice.
I'm at a bit of an advantage here because I know quite a lot about this project because I was in the group that met a range of public artists because there was a call out went out. And I was absolutely amazed by the status and quality of the people who came and who wanted to work with arts children and with councils and to create an amazing, very memorable piece of public art. An experience really, a whole shebang. So I've got a bit of an advantage because I know I've got a feel for what Emma Smith, who's renowned, what her intention is to do here. But I thought it might be helpful for the other members of the panel, just turning if you'd like to say a bit about just sort of what it might look like, feel like, and the sort of connections that she's going to be trying to draw out. That makes sense.
Not easy with a visual project, but I'll do my best. So Emma Smith is a. Thank you. Sorry. Emma Smith is an international artist with a multi-award-winning artist who, with what she calls a social practice. So she doesn't just come and do it. She engages with the public, both in the research. When she came here, she had a big walk on Norton Fitzwarren, for example, went on the river, went to see various parts of the museum and other parts of Somerset. And out of that, she has forged this idea for a wildflower garden, which is going to be located within the museum moat, and within it a series of creatures that are a reflection, that are drawn on the idea both of the very distinguished Ammonite collection in the Somerset Museum, and sort of blended with a octopus shape, and it's quite hard to describe this. And these are creatures which are intended to reflect on both the past and the future of climate change. This is just an original concept. She will develop this much more in the detailed design phase. And when it comes to the fabrication and creation and installation, she will work with local people, with young people in particular. As I'm sure you're aware, we run the Tyker Festival. We now have extensive networks of connections with pretty much all the states, secondary schools and most of the primaries, and we'll draw on those connections to involve young people, children, etc., in the creative process and in workshops, trails, and other activities in association with the museum to engage people in the meaning of something like this. And I think the other thing to say about this is a project of this kind is a real kind of legacy project for Taunton. It will be a very serious piece of public art that will attract attention, I'm sure, and comment and debate, and it will endure. If you give us the full grant that we've asked for, it will still only be 10%, less than 10% of the total cost, because we're seeking to raise all the rest of the money from foundations, the Arts Council, the German Foundation, and so on.
That was multiple questions to go to go. We've got a scoring class. I just want to make sure that we've got a couple of blanks filled in. How can you demonstrate there's a community need for this particular project?
Pretty hard to say that the community needs an artwork, but I think there's been a lot of debate, and you see it elsewhere, about the importance of art and public art to a community. Look at Harlow Town, for example. Look at what the Willow Man did for the locality. I think it's the most accessible form of art in many respects, because it sits there. You don't have to go into a gallery or museum, and it really makes a difference to people's sense of identity, who they are, where they belong, etc. That's how I think I would try to answer that question.
If you were unsuccessful, or only gave a partial grant, would the project still be able to go ahead?
We very much hope so. It depends on raising close to our target budget, which won't just be from the council, as I've already indicated.
Councillor Deakin.
Just to follow on that, so I know you mentioned last council and another place, so you're looking for funding for be another big chunk. I know you mentioned foundations and other organisations. Because of the kind of split that you need 12 and then the remainder is trying to complete, where does the Arts Council sit? They have to fund some of the design in the application for them, or are they funding from kind of delivery of the project?
No, we're applying to them for full funding. I mean, design, fabrication, installation. Not for the whole cost, but for a large part of the cost. Someone who's working on the application is much more experienced than me, Tom Mabry, thinks it's a very strong application. So we're very hopeful about it.
And would the funding you receive from the town council help be support funding for the Arts Council who need some seed funding internally?
Absolutely. I mean, the point about funding for you, it's a small proportion, but this has actually been a project that emerged from the council. It was the Public Art Committee of Somerset West and Taunton Council that we were a part of that suggested we ought to do something on Castle Green. And we willingly took on the commission, as it were, to make it happen. And we've done pretty much all the work subsequently. Sorry, I forgot what your question was.
It's the role of kind of the town council grant possibly with supporting the Arts Council.
Yeah, the point is, having said that, we very much hope that the then council was going to support us in the detailed design phase, but Somerset Council itself, of course, has hardly got any funds to do so. But what we now need to be able to demonstrate is that the Taunton Town Council is fully behind this, so that we can go to other funders and see, we've got this money from, if you like, the seed funding for this, and that will give confidence to the other foundations and trusts to be able to support it.
Additional questions. Looking through the budget proposal, there's £5,000 that's been spent previously with Somerset West and Taunton as a development stage, and there's a proposed £12,000 purely for the design stage, not for the construction, which would cost another 20 to 30,000. Is that correct?
I think
why is the design stage so expensive?
That's hard for me to answer because it's a quote from the artist herself. It's mostly, I suppose, artist fees, but it's also further research on materials. I mean, one of the materials she was talking about using is oyster shells, and will require further visits. But I think the main point at this stage is that we're talking, I think, 18 months ago when that was put forward, and we've now merged this into one whole process. And once we've raised the money, we're going to go to her, and she's going to go sequentially through detailed design, discussion, and then the fabrications.
Councillor Tully.
You don't need the money immediately, do you? If you don't, is this working? No, your one's on this, but it's not working. You don't need the money immediately. So if we offered you duly in principle, that says that you can actually get the money, you can go to the other version you need to go to and do it that way. Is that not wrong? Is that the best one?
That would be fine. But as long as in principle is can't be withdrawn unless we don't do the project, that would be very different. Yeah.
Sorry, Chair. That's what I would suggest we do. Obviously,
Okay,
we'll let them. We will do it in principle. The money's going to be available. It's not as long as he gets the rest of the money together.
Okay, we're going to make a decision on each one of these slides at the end after we've heard everybody, just so that everyone has a fair chance to apportion things accordingly. But yeah, if that's agreeable with you, we'll keep that as an option.
So as long as I could, because what these forms seem to require is whether the funding is confirmed. Like you say, use the word confirmed. What that's for.
I think that covers all the questions I've got Stick up on answer.
Okay.
Thank you very much for coming. You're welcome to go now. You've had your slot. You can stay to the same time, otherwise we're free to go. We'll be in touch.
There's too many people behind me. No disrespect.
And next we have Community Men in Sheds, and that is John White. Thank you, John. If you're happy, shall I go through some of the slightly housekeeping questions you can tick off, and then if you want to chip in with supplementary ones, go for it. I just wanted to check, is Community Men in Sheds, is it free to access or is it a paid activity?
It's, we have an annual fee of £20 and then we have a session fee of £3. For that, you can drink as much tea and coffee as you want, basically place for tea and coffee.
And how can you demonstrate there's a community need with your particular project?
The original shed program was set up in Australia, in a township. And they attracted single men, lonely men, etc. And it was so successful, it then went statewide, and then went nationwide, and then went international. The Men in Sheds Taunton was the 460th set in Britain. What they found is, as soon as it was set up, there was a dramatic drop in suicide rates amongst men. Following on from the pandemic and noticing increased suicide rates amongst women, we converted the Men in Sheds to the community Men in Sheds, meaning that any gender can attend. We have gender specific days on Tuesday and Wednesday. We have increased our membership from originally 30, which when we was down Belvedere Bradfield site, to over 60 now. And at least a quarter of that are ladies.
And since previously, if you didn't receive the funding or if you received partial funding, would this particular project be able to go ahead?
It wouldn't go ahead straight away. We would have to basically save, make more stuff and sell, because we heavily into the environment at the moment, making different stuff, and try and recruit more members.
Councillor Deakin asked, would this funding enable you to access funding from elsewhere, or is that not something that you've looked at?
But we're only actually looking to purchase another flat pack container stroke workshop. We will then convert, we've got one already, we will join them together and then convert them into 3 different workshops: furniture restoration, clay and glass, and then engineering, to spread our interest, if you like.
And all the other questions to ask about this project. Service?
I don't know, but it's not really a question. I just love what you do. I see Ronnie's post because I know Ronnie's involved with it, isn't she? So I knew that it was for, you know, very sort of inclusive sort of operation. And you tend to get involved very much in like community, like trash care. Adam amazing. And is working on the Halley's the space, super space Halley's Comet trail? What are you making for that?
A gentleman turned up and asked us if we would make some stands so they can put solar lights for the Halley's Trail. And then when we done it and he left, we found out he was the mayor. Really? We've also been approached by a lady that's involved with rewilding an area, I think it's Summercourt. You have to apologise, I'm not local. I live in Watchet and I'm born in Watford, so it's a bit difficult. So we produced them a number of bird boxes, and we would like to get involved with other groups, particularly in the environment, which is my main interest, to perhaps put up swift boxes, bat boxes around that we can make. But, you know, that's all for the future.
Brilliant.
Thank you. You may have touched on this a little bit already, we actually think a little bit more. So, what would this additional workshop enable and enable kind of more diversity things could be achieved? And where's the idea come from? Does it come from your members? Does it come from just not having enough space?
We got a lot more space than we used to have up engineering, but unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, and that's bad. We're getting a lot more members.
Okay.
And I don't know if any of you ladies and gentlemen done any clay worked in clay. You can take out your brushing on a lamp. And I used to go to the Milton Keynes mending sheds, and also on our place that we used to do comb work. And I would love, as an experiment, to make swallow boxes out of clay. We're experimenting all the time in the sheds. So.
And I've got a couple of places that I need to grasp as well, so if everyone's happy with the information we've got. Excellent, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next,
Good luck, everyone.
we have peak festivals, that another sentence.
Hello, members.
My bad.
Hello.
Okay, I'll start with some housekeeping questions. Like this. How can you demonstrate as a community need for your particular project?
Sorry, the community
A
benefit.
community need.
Community need,
Yeah,
okay.
how can you demonstrate your
Sure.
community need for it?
Sure. So for us, the community is made up of three groups. There's the very obvious one of the producers that we work with, but there's also the visitors that attend, in excess of 15,000 people per festival, as per your street footfall counters, and also the local businesses as well. And we consult with all three of those groups regularly. The feedback from our producers is that they love working in Taunton. They think it's a great town, and it's wonderful to see businesses like Goody and Geeky and Doe Brothers, who started trading with us originally, now with premises in the town, and other businesses like Eat the Bird, making the reverse flow of stepping out of their bricks and mortar premises and trading with us, because they see that as a way to enhance their brand and reach new customers as well. Our visitors, we asked through feedback surveys. It was great with the Christmas event, the largest Christmas market in Somerset, which is held in Taunton and run by us. People travelling in from all over the county who are perhaps regulars at their local Eat Festival, but seeing this as being the Christmas market that they're going to attend because of its sheer scale and variety. And then with the local business leaders who gave us feedback last year, how you want us to engage more with the local businesses, and we have. We've been working with Taunton Chamber and with the Taunton Independent Quarter, offering to print the Taunton Independent Quarter's Christmas posters, display their A boards within the festivals. We've been working with the Chamber, and we developed an engagement guide for businesses and distributed that to them, and providing copy for their newsletter as well.
Thank you. If we didn't give the grant you requested, would the event still be able to go ahead?
So the event would go ahead, but we would reduce our spend on entertainment and marketing in particular. They're the things that that are the, let's be brutally honest, the expendable part of it. We can't cut back on our stewarding, we can't cut back on our road closure, and we can't cut back on our licensing costs. So yeah, they're the things that we would change, which would be a real shame, because the May event is the premier event of Somerset Day. It's in the county town, it's an enormous event and very popular. And then the Christmas event, as I've already said, it is the largest Christmas market in Somerset, and we want to make it look like it's the premier event happening in the county as well.
Ian.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. I'm going to pick up, I think I had a question about conservation business last time.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
just pick up on that theme a little bit, just because, I'll be really honest, I'm really torn about the youth festival, because I think it's wonderful in that it brings in a huge number of people to town to celebrate it, and that's a brilliant thing. Anything that brings people in is amazing. I still hear feedback from permanent businesses in the town that it has a negative impact on them, particularly for the day when the festival is happening. So I suppose there's two parts to that really. One is just to ask what the consultation looked like with the businesses, and just what in regards to that kind of, was it a couple of visitors or did you go door to door? Just a sense of that would be really helpful. And secondly, one of the key pieces of feedback I heard is actually businesses really like the festival. What they don't like is the extensive road closures that it causes.
Okay.
And just the question I'd like to speak to is why spaces like Castle Green aren't utilised for the festival when they are for other markets that happen in town.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Councillor. So to pick up those 2 points in turn, so the consultation, so we visited every business within the road closure area, and then the wider High Street area and the Orchard Place shopping centre. So we did that in person. After the May, so before the December event and after the December event, I'm just thinking last time I saw you was July.
Yeah.
So we did that face to face, and we've also reached out through the Taunton Chamber of Commerce newsletter, providing our contact details, asking people to get in touch. And then we also do a card drop as well as part of our consultation for our road closure, which also has our contact details on as well. So if we've missed someone or there's been a change of owner or the wrong manager was in when we're there, they've got our details as well. And yeah, we've taken on board feedback around some store placements, the layout of stores at the top of East Reach as well, and also the better briefing of our stewards regarding access on Magdalen Street, because the businesses that have premises on East Street that have access from Magdalen Street can still access through the road closure. There has been occasions where our stewards have been a little bit too firm with their no, you can't, the road's closed, and so we pick that up with our stewarding provider. Regarding the area that we use, we started off on Castle Green. We were invited by Somerset West and Taunton Dean Council, when if you cast your mind back that far in your corporate history, to create an event for Somerset Day, which we did on Castle Green. And we did a lot of work with highways and with the planning team. When Castle Green development happened, whichever year that was, about 2013, I suppose, there was a condition put on that there needed to be a traffic management plan developed to enable events to happen on that space, and that planning condition was never met. So we had a situation where you've got an event space, Castle Green, with a live road going through it, which you can't close. For an event that attracts 15,000 people, that's just not possible. Plus we can't fit the number of traders we have, which is 100 within the Castle Green space. We were already working with Taunton Minster, St Mary's as it was then, and they invited us to use their church grounds, which works really well in May, not so good in December. And then that led to us then using the Church Square and down Hammett Street, and then the event grew again, and that's when we investigated using East Street, which was on the back of COVID, where you'd had a very successful closure of East Street, and so we continued using that same closure, same diversion then for the 2 days a year that it happens. We're always happy to look at other areas, and when there was some debate as the COVID restrictions came to an end about whether using East Street was possible, we explored using the High Street, but that's very difficult with your existing Saturday market and the space that they use and the flexibility within that. So we're always happy to listen to feedback and look at other options, but at the moment the scale of the event and the number of people, those areas work the best at the moment.
Councillor Ellis and Councillor Sully.
Hi. So you mentioned about the entertainment, so that's the part of the Eat Festival that say I'm bring the kids along or whatever, and say you don't have much money to actually spend. So it's free entertainment.
It is, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And so that would be the thing that would be potentially
Yes.
risky.
Yes.
So I'm just keen to understand what's the plan for May and December about how the entertainment work, how long is it, and what is its nature?
Yep.
Will it actually be sort of like, providing work for local
Okay,
performers
sure.
and artists? We can say something about that, would really help.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Councillor Ellis. So our entertainment package is always free. The coming to the events is free. People can come along, have a lovely day browsing the food and drink, make use of all the entertainment and not spend a penny if they wish. Having no financial barriers is a big deal for us. So we pay for the entertainment, and the entertainment package at the moment that's booked for May and December includes strolling entertainers. So the jugglers, balloon modelers, that kind of thing, the circus skills workshops, and all these run all day in the trade 10 till 4. Isn't it so much? I don't break it. The music, so we have paid performers, so singers, people who perhaps might look like a busker, but actually we pay them to be there, and that gives us some control over the quality and the fact that they are going to play all day as well and not be put off if it rains. The DJ that you'll be familiar with as well. And I missed someone. Who have I missed? It'll come back to me, I'm sure. So the vast majority of those are from the Somerset area. Some live and work in Taunton as well. And we're always on the lookout to add to our roster as well. So if there are connections that you think that you can make for us, then we'll be very happy to receive those and add them into the mix as well.
Sorry, I'm going to be a devil's advocate.
That's okay.
I 100% agree with it. I enjoy it. It cost me a fortune.
Sorry.
But it is a business. It is a commercial business.
No, we're not. We're a constituted voluntary group. So no, we're not a business. We are very professional, but we're not a business.
Are you saying, Mr., that the stallholders don't pay for their plots?
Yes, they do. They pay a pitch fee, which is a little bit more than a farmer's market and a little bit less than an agricultural show. It's kind of in the middle, but comparable for the pitch fee. But the pitch fees don't cover the total cost of the event, which is why we're asking for your support, whether that through a grant or a sponsorship.
Yes, a fair answer.
Yeah, I can actually follow up on that. Obviously, you operate mutual trading.
That's right.
Yeah. In our investigation.
Yeah, us too.
So obviously, all the traders would be the members of
Yes.
that mutual organisation, but there's no profit, but if there is a profit, it's put back into the
Yes.
running of
Yeah.
future events.
Yes,
Correct.
spot on. Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
We gave you some money last year as
Yeah.
sponsorship,
Yes,
which effectively covered this same amount of money that's in the shortfall as a similar
yes,
per event. And according to your budget projections, you're looking at the same projected shortfall for both events this year.
Yeah.
My question is there anything you can do to review your model if you know that it operates at that level of
Yeah.
loss, that you could review your prices or your expenditure
Yeah.
so that you're not reliant on grants?
Yes. Thanks for that question, and I'm very happy to help with the education around mutual trading. Yeah, it was a learning curve for us as well. We've kept our pitch fees the same for the last 4 years for our traders. The vast majority, 99.5%, I would wager, are micro and small businesses. The vast majority are micro businesses, very small producers, and we wanted to give them the stability of our pitch fees. We have adjusted our model, but as I mentioned a little while ago, there are some things that we can't reduce the costs on, and we still want to try and create a high quality event for the county town, for Somerset Day and for the Christmas event as well. We've looked for commercial sponsorship and have been unsuccessful for this year for this event, but some other events have attracted sponsorship this year, and because of the nature of our model, they are subsidising this event. In order to try and get the books balanced. Yeah, I think that answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.